What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kyle Pancis, and if you're new to the channel, please be sure to give this video a like and of course subscribe so you guys can stay tuned for much more car content. If it's not your first time tuning in, thanks for your continued support. All of you guys should be sure to follow me at Kyle Pancis if you have any questions or concerns, all car stuff related. Love to help out. Today we're with my 2020 Volvo XC60, and I'm going to give you 5 things that I love most about this car, and some of them actually cross over into the other cars in Volvo's lineup. So I hope you enjoy. Stay tuned. So the first thing is the climate control preconditioning setting. Let me just hop in and show you guys a couple clips I just basically took before we started this review right here. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Parking climate. You have keep climate comfort. Preconditioning. And you can create a timer. So if I'm coming out of work at 1:26 p.m., let's call it 1:30. It's 1:26 right now, so this will precondition the interior of the car. So let's give this just another 4 minutes, and here comes the air. You guys hear it? Air conditioning is now on. That, guys, is pretty awesome. And of course, you can have up to 8 different timers scheduled. So if you know that your schedule is specific to certain times every day during the week, certain days of the week, etc., etc., you guys can schedule it that way. So there you go. Let's get into the rest of this. The second thing, obviously, in this car is the driving modes. You guys can switch between eco, comfort, dynamic, and then in this car you have off-road capabilities, which is pretty interesting, how the car will automatically transform the feel and of course the cluster for all of the off-road capability feelings of the transmission. Obviously, comfort everyday mode is typically used, but if you guys are around town and you want a little bit of extra performance, there you go, you have it. Okay, that's what I love. That's you know, that's one part of number 2 that I love most about this car is the customization of the tech. The next one is this lane keep assist aid. Okay, that keeps you in the lane while you're driving the car, and of course you can automatically turn on and off the start stop feature if you don't like that mode. In my personal opinion, I absolutely hate the start stop feature, especially when it's 100 degrees outside, because that means the air conditioning and all that stuff gets affected too by it. So I turn it off. It also, the older generations used to have like a transmission kick every time you would start the engine back up. Obviously, that's all been adjusted for in these new models, but needless to say, it's customizable. So part of number 2 is the customability. So there you go, customizable start stop. Lane keep assist. If you guys are just cruising around town and you want that on, you can have that on. Personally speaking, I like to turn that off when I'm driving in traffic because sometimes I don't always enjoy putting my blinker light on if I'm switching lanes. Not to say that I'm doing the right things and have the right habits, but I like the option to turn it off so the car doesn't give me that haptic feedback yelling at me that I'm changing lanes when I shouldn't be. So there you go for number 2. Let's hop into number 3 of what I like next about this car. Number 3 is just the simple, elegant interior of this car, and of course the comfort. This car, obviously, as you see, has the full sunroof that opens all the way up, which is really nice if you guys wanted to have that. Beautiful how that all functions. Nothing that's unheard of in a modern day car, especially in a luxury car, but that's part of the comfort inside the car. The next is the seats. the inscription models, whether it's the T5 inscription or the T6 inscription, has the extra bolstering on the seat, and of course, as always, Swedish engineered, and comes along with the inscription insignia on the seat. So these seats here is another extra positioning. You can adjust this for your extra support on the legs. Very, very awesome to have in the car. And you won't be able to see it right now, but there is a lighting setup you have inside here, like right there and right there. At night, those light up a glow. You can set the different color tones if you want purple, red, white, etc. In this car, we keep it at white. I don't know, we can't show you now, but what it really does is allows to have just like an undertone glow of white around the entire car. So if you have passengers in the car and it's pitch black outside and you're talking to somebody next to you, you at least can see them and you're not just in complete darkness. It's really elegant, it's pleasant, and it really adds to the vibe of the car. I really enjoy it a lot. And then of course, that glow also exists in the footwell. So the footwell will have that glow as well in the passenger footwells as well. And it's just, like I said, really completes the interior vibe of this vehicle. Next up on number 3, which is the comfort, is the seat, or is the buttons all around the car. All of them are solid. Every one of them just has a nice solid feel. They are plastic, but the plastic has a nice luxury finish to them. Very comfortable to the touch. And of course, all of the armrests are leather stitched and padded. The only thing that's like a hard plastic, which is still a soft touch, is the door up here, and of course the dash, but you're not touching those all the time. And like as you can see here, it's leather wrapped and leather stitched in the inscription model. Very nice feature and very comfortable part of number 3. So all in all, number 3 that I love about this car is the interior comfort. Very luxury in here, super special, super elegant, and really pleasant just to be in. Very nicely done in the Volvo. This goes for all Volvos, not just the XC60, even though we're in the XC60. All right, so number 4 is the driving of this car. The electronic steering in this car is really allowing you to have a light steering wheel. And I mean, even though you don't feel the road like in an old school car where you had a hydraulic steering wheel, it's just really smooth. The steering wheel has a nice leather touch to it. So between the leather touch steering wheel, you guys can just feel and hear, and hopefully you can correlate that in my speech of the wheel. It's just very comfortable to just steer the car. It's very light on its feet, and of course, very, very sensitive to the touch. So it's very responsive to the input that you're putting into the steering wheel. The driving of this car is also really nice. The engine of this car and the T6 model produces 300 horsepower and 316 horsepower, 300 foot-pounds of torque, or about 295 foot-pounds of torque, I think is the official rating. So the car is actually pretty peppy for being a 4-cylinder dual charged engine, supercharger and turbocharger. And of course, it's not a race car, but it has the power. And of course, when you get on it, it sounds good, and the exhaust starts to kind of scream back there, and you can hear the engine kind of working through it, and it's really nice if you want to enjoy that. Now, if you're not enjoying that, it's luxury. The transmission in the car is got an 8-speed transmission. It's very, very responsive to every power bandwidth that you're looking for, and of course, it's smooth. So if you're around town and you're just kind of cruising, it's going to keep the car between 1,000 and 2,000 RPM, nice and relaxed. And of course, when you're on the highway with the 8 speeds, it also keeps those RPMs low. So your engine is never super loud. You're always getting a decent fuel economy in this car. Average city and highway is about 23 miles per gallon. And of course, if you're like me that always gets on it, you're obviously going to see a little bit lower performance on that. However, the car feels really nice and responsive always, and that's what I like about this Volvo. I love it. The suspension is soft. It's not too soft and it's not too stiff in this XC60, and that's something really to note, because sometimes in the older model, in the older generation XC60, the suspension was always like all over the place. I felt like the car just had a lot of body roll and the suspension was very loose. And in this car, the car is just much more stable and a little bit more nimble on its feet. A little bit more modern, I guess, if you will, in today's kind of car world. So it's really nice. And I guess if you're in the S60, you're gonna get a little bit sportier of a ride. And if you're in the XC90, it's gonna probably be a little bit more luxury. But that's what I love the most about the XC60 is you have the space, it's got the ride feel, and of course, the luxury feel. And it's just a perfect all-around mid-size SUV with a great utility. And I love it. It's absolutely amazing. So that is number 4. I mean, there's stuff in the back. You guys can hear it kind of moving around, but you know, I just did a 0 to 65 on this back road on a bend, and you can just see that I wasn't all over the place on the road, and I didn't feel really uncomfortable or out of control. So there you go for number 4. Number 5, my favorite love of these cars, and this is why I love Volvo today out of every other luxury car in its class. The Volvo XC60, XC90, and of course now the S60 and all of the wagons that go along with them are probably, in my humble opinion, the best looking car in the segment. Every line is super elegant and super nice on the Volvos. They all flow really nicely from body line to body panels to taillights to headlights to front grills. The whole thing is just done, in my opinion, really nicely. Nothing seemed forced on this car. Even the side view mirrors are all flowing nicely with the car on the outside. Nothing seems like a forced endeavor in terms of design, and that's what I love about every single Volvo in its lineup. But specific to the XC60, if you're comparing it to other competitors such as the Audi A5, or excuse me, the Audi Q5, and you're comparing it to the BMW 3 Series, those cars just seem, in my opinion, very mainstream. They're kind of outdated. I know they've updated some of the fascias on those cars, but it just doesn't have enough of a distinct look compared to the Volvo. It just really doesn't. I know Cadillac has just come out with some new designs. Those lines look pretty sharp. So Volvo might have a little bit of a run, but it seems like Cadillac copied Volvo because Volvo obviously was first to market with their cars. So whatever, no super deal there, but in my opinion, it is the best. It is the best looking. Mercedes is obviously a whole nother lineup, but Mercedes, you're comparing against the ML350, and it also too looks a little dated, even though they updated the line. So these are just some of my opinions, but in my final word is that I love the lines of all of the XC60s and of course the Volvo lineups. Fantastic looking cars. They feel great, they ride great, they look great, and of course the technology in them is great. And that's the 5 things that I love about the Volvo XC60 and of course the other models. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, please share it, please subscribe, follow me at Pancis, and if you guys like this content, please be sure to give this video a like because it helps my YouTube channel. So stay tuned for more. I'll see you guys next time.